Hi, I'm Titash Neogi. I've been an entrepreneur now for around 5 years, but I've been building products for more than 10 years. I started my first entrepreneurial or product building exercise as a 12th grader. I was appearing for the CAT exams, and I thought it'd be a good idea to build a website for people who are appearing for the CAT examination. And that was when I first started building things. I still remember the first. It was called catcracker.net. It eventually went offline because I didn't do much with it. But then I joined my first job was at Veritas, that's where I started really thinking about solving problems and using technology to solve problems. I did my first internal product while at Veritas. Around 2009, I quit Veritas and started by then it was Symantec. No, it was acquired in 2005. And 2009, I quit, end of 2009, and started my first product idea. It was centered around people trying to capture information from the web and storing them in their own personal categories. That was called Bibcosh. Didn't do much well, so we made it offline in around 2010, and that's when I started working on my current product, Themify. With Themify, we've had a significant amount of success. Then, alongside Themify, somewhere around mid 2012, I also started working on this other product called Book Machine. Both these products are at a fairly mature stage now. With Themify, we are heading towards an exit as well in the next 6 to 8 months. But currently, with both the products built, I started looking at helping others who are starting their startup journey in by using the stuff that I have learned, the mistakes that I have made, and the skills that I have acquired, and that's where I came across Numa, and I felt it would be really good to associate with Numa because we're starting the accelerator program. So that's where I started interacting with Numa. My real ambition or real aspiration is to be able to help people who are starting their own product companies and prevent them from making some of the mistakes that I have made by giving them right pointers, and I'm hoping that I can do that in Numa while I'm here. So it's quite interesting. It's There is a lot of activity. So in fact, if I work out of Starbucks in Nagar a lot, and if you sit there at any given point of time, my theory is that at least 10 startup conversations are happening across the 10 tables. And that's a great thing. There's a lot of genuine product development happening, which was not happening 5 years back when I started. People were mostly doing services. Now people are actually thinking of products. The younger generation is actually much more ambitious. Unfortunately, not enough of that is happening in the non-e-commerce space. That's the sad side of it, but I think that will gradually change. But yeah, there is still a lot of innovation happening, a lot of risks being taken. It's really good right now in Bangalore. I think Indians essentially don't take risks. Starting startups is the first big step. I mean, people are taking more and more risks, but even the risks are safe bets because people are saying, okay, we'll do an e-commerce because we'll get funded and we'll make money. I think the ability to celebrate failure is not there in our culture, and that's what we need to do. And that's not happening enough. We are not rewarding people who don't make it. We only talk about people who get the next $1 billion funding, but what we don't realize happens as a consequence of that is that nobody else wants to stick their neck out and do something that may not be a safe bet. So a good example of that is when I started my first product. It was really not a very mainstream product. It was about people who researched on the web and created information. Now, that kind of a startup in the Silicon Valley led to a Pinterest, led to an Evernote. But that kind of a startup in India finds it hard to succeed because the outlier ideas don't find much receptors, and the ecosystem isn't there in terms of people who want to work for them, people who want to design for those people. So that's what needs to be done more. We need to talk about the people whose ideas are very different. They may or may not be safe bets. That's really needed, and the people who have not made it but still have a lot of information and insight into the industry. That needs to happen. So I think it's interesting, but and in this may or may not be correct, but I feel that most of the accelerators right now have a lot of interaction with the US startup and product ecosystem. We've really not focused that much on the European markets, the European ecosystem, learning from, and but there's a lot of interesting thing happening in Europe. And one of the quite coincidentally, a product that I interact with a lot is out of a European startup. Now, I feel Numa stands out in that because it's coming out of France. It has a European focus. It has the ability to give Indian startups look into the European industry as well. So that sets it out, and that's really interesting. And of course, on the other more mundane or practical side, it's got a great office location. I think that's another reason for why Numa.